William just cut off the perks Camilla's family had been quietly enjoying for years. The twist is he didn't have to fight for it, because they were never entitled to any of it. We're covering the advantages that vanished, why Charles spent so long protecting them, and the relatives caught off guard. But stay for this. There's one perk Charles guarded harder than all the others, and near the end, the reason William moved now instead of waiting. If you've watched Camilla's people act untouchable, this is the day the rule caught up with them. This wasn't cruelty, it was correction. Let's get into it. Number 1, the rule. Private citizens can't inherit royal privilege. This is the principle that unravels everything. Tom Parker Bowles, Laura Lopez, Annabelle Elliot, Ben Elliot, Freddie, Lola, Gus, Louis, Eliza, Arthur. None of them hold royal titles. None of them are in the line of succession. None of them have any constitutional connection to the crown. They are private citizens. Every privilege they've enjoyed, every invitation, every contract, every balcony appearance, every coronation costume, exists because one person married the king. That's it. No birthright, no appointment, no obligation. When a monarch dies, the new monarch inherits the crown, the palaces, and the authority. But the new monarch does not inherit an obligation to fund, protect, or invite the previous queen's relatives. That's the rule. And it's about to be enforced by a man who watched the institution give Camilla's family everything while giving Diana's family nothing. And the first enforcement was about Camilla's sister, the one who'd been quietly collecting duchy money for 19 years. Number 2, William fired Annabelle Elliot from the duchy payroll. Annabelle Elliot is Camilla's younger sister, an interior designer based in Dorset. In July 2005, weeks after Charles married Camilla, the Duchy of Cornwall hired Annabelle to redesign 3 holiday properties, the Guard House and a cottage on the Isles of Scilly, and Restormel Cottage in Cornwall. The contracts expanded over the years to include a 20-bedroom pub in Poundbury, properties at Dumfries House in Scotland, and cottages across Cornwall, Wales, and the Isles of Scilly. By 2008, she'd already been paid £103,000 for the Scilly work alone. Over nearly 2 decades, payments totaled several £100,000. Labour MP Ian Davidson stood up in Parliament and called it nepotism and cronyism. He said, "He seems to be giving it to this person just because she's the sister of his wife." The contracts were never open to competitive bidding, not once, in 19 years. When William inherited the duchy in September 2022, the first full accounts he published showed Annabelle's final payment, £19,625 in fees, and £12,316 for furniture and furnishings. Then the annual report read, "At the 31st of March 2024, there was £0 remaining payable to Mrs Elliot." The Telegraph confirmed William would no longer employ her. 19 years of duchy income ended in one line, one word, nil. And that wasn't the only thing Annabelle's family lost. Number 3, Annabelle's son had been using royal connections for business. Ben Elliot, Camilla's nephew, Annabelle's son, co-founder of Quintessentially, a luxury concierge service for the ultra-wealthy. The BBC described him as a supreme networker. He became Conservative Party co-chairman in 2019, and under his tenure, the party raised over £70 million, including a record £37 million in 1 quarter alone. But the problem started when a major donor, Mohammed Amersi, alleged that Ben had arranged meetings with Prince Charles in exchange for years of subscription payments to Quintessentially. The BBC reported the allegations as cash for access, paying for proximity to the heir to the throne. The lobbying watchdog issued a formal warning telling Ben to separate his party role from his private business interests. Quintessentially later reported losses and warned of material uncertainty over its future. And in 2023, after all of that, Ben was knighted. Sir Ben Elliot, the nephew of the Queen, honored during the reign of his uncle by marriage. When William becomes king, Ben's access to royal introductions doesn't diminish. It disappears entirely. The man who once offered clients access to the Prince of Wales will have no prince to offer. Stay with me, because the next 3 are the ones hiding in plain sight at the coronation. Number 4. All 4 of Camilla's coronation pages were her own family. May 6, 2023. The coronation of King Charles III at Westminster Abbey, a ceremony watched by over 20 million people in Britain alone. King Charles chose Prince George as one of his 4 pages of honor, a future king honoring his grandson. The heir to the throne walking behind the new king. Logical, expected, meaningful. But Camilla's 4 pages? Every single one was her own flesh and blood. Gus Lopes, her grandson, Laura's son. Louis Lopes, her grandson, Laura's son, Gus's twin. Freddie Parker Bowles, her grandson, Tom's son. Arthur Elliot, her grandnephew, Ben's son, Annabelle's grandson. 4 children, all from Camilla's family, all civilians with no constitutional connection to the crown, given ceremonial roles at the coronation of a British monarch, walking behind the Queen in breeches and robes, photographed by every camera in the Abbey, seen by billions worldwide. Not one of them is in the line of succession. Not one of them holds a royal title. They were there because their grandmother married the right man. Let me say that again. 4 non-royal children walked behind a queen at a British coronation because their grandmother married the king. Diana's children were there by birthright. Camilla's were there by marriage, and marriage ends. And after the coronation, the balcony told the same story. Number 5. Camilla's grandchildren stood on the Buckingham Palace balcony. Gus and Louis Lopez, Laura's twin boys, appeared on the Buckingham Palace balcony alongside their grandmother on Coronation Day. The Buckingham Palace balcony, the most photographed square meter in Britain. The same balcony Diana stood on after her wedding in 1981, waving to 1 million people on the Mall. Civilians, school children, standing where monarchs stand. The only reason they were there is because their grandmother's husband wore the crown. William decides who stands on that balcony when he's king. He will put George, Charlotte, and Louis, Diana's grandchildren, in the center. Whether Camilla's grandchildren appear at all is entirely his call. And the country that watched Diana wave from that balcony will watch Diana's grandchildren wave from the same spot. I really want to get to number 12, the perk Charles guarded, harder than any other. But first, 6 through 11. Because those are the everyday privileges Camilla's family collected for years that nobody questioned until William started asking why. Number 6. The secret meetings at Annabelle's house. This is the one that goes all the way back. Annabel Elliot and her late husband Simon owned a country house in Storpane, Dorset. And for years, they allowed Charles and Camilla to hold secret meetings there, while Charles was still married to Diana. The meetings are documented. The location is documented. The affair was hidden behind Annabelle's front door while Diana was raising William and Harry in Kensington Palace, while Diana was giving interviews about feeling alone, while Diana was telling the world there were 3 people in her marriage. Annabelle helped hide the 3rd person, and after the marriage, the woman who helped conceal the affair that destroyed Diana's life was rewarded with Duchy of Cornwall contracts worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. That's the timeline. Help hide the affair, wait for the wedding, collect the contracts, lose the contracts when Diana's son takes over the duchy. Cause and effect, 20 years apart. Number 7. Tom Parker Bowles had the most unusual godfather in Britain. Tom Parker Bowles, Camilla's oldest child, has perhaps the most unusual dual relationship with any royal in modern history. Charles is both his stepfather and his godfather. Charles became Tom's godfather at his christening in 1974, before Diana existed in Charles's life. Diana was a 13-year-old schoolgirl that year. Nobody outside the aristocratic social circuit had heard of Camilla Shand, but Charles was already so close to Camilla's family that he stood at her son's christening and made a lifelong promise. Tom has built a successful career as a food writer, master chef critic, and author of 9 cookbooks, including Cooking in the Crown, a book about royal recipes, the social capital of being the godson of the Prince of Wales, later the King of England, opened doors that a food writer from Wiltshire doesn't normally walk through. When Charles dies, Tom's godfather is gone. His stepfather, the king, is gone, and his stepbrother, William, the man who now controls the institution, owes him nothing. Not an introduction, not a phone call, not a column, nothing. Number 8. Laura Lopez's daughter was a bridesmaid at William's wedding, April 29, 2011. Westminster Abbey, William and Kate's wedding, 2 billion people watching worldwide, and in the wedding party, walking behind the bride in a white dress, was Eliza Lopez, Laura's daughter, Camilla's granddaughter, 3 years old, a private citizen's child, in the most watched wedding of the century. Walking behind Diana's daughter-in-law in the Abbey, where Diana's coffin lay 14 years earlier. Charles held Eliza on the Buckingham Palace balcony afterward. The photograph went global. Think about that for 1 second. Diana's son's wedding, and one of the children in the procession was the granddaughter of the woman who broke Diana's marriage. That's not protocol. That's a favor, and favors expire. And the access didn't stop at weddings. It extended to every Christmas. Number 9. Camilla's children now attend Royal Christmas. Tom and Laura Parker Bowles now attend the Christmas walk to church at Sandringham, the most intimate royal family event of the year. They walk alongside William, Kate, George, Charlotte, and Louis down the path to St. Mary Magdalene Church, past the cameras, past the crowds who've waited in the cold since dawn. They stand in the photographs, they sit in the pews. They weren't always there. For years, Sandringham was blood family only, but Charles expanded the guest list year after year to include Camilla's children. The 2024 Christmas walk was one of the most public appearances Tom and Laura have made with the Windsors. They walked as if they belonged, but belonging at Sandringham isn't a right. It's an invitation. And when William inherits the estate, he writes that guest list. Stepmother's children from a previous marriage doesn't automatically make the cut. Diana never got to spend a Sandringham Christmas after 1991. She never walked that path again. Camilla's children have walked it every year since Charles became king. When William is king, he decides who walks beside him to church, and he'll be thinking about the mother who never got to. And from now on, every time you see the Sandringham Christmas walk on the news, you'll look at who's walking beside William, and you'll notice who's missing. You won't be able to stop yourself. Number 10. Royal Ascot access. Mrs Elliot has been photographed in the royal enclosure at Royal Ascot multiple times, the most exclusive seating area in British horse racing. In June 2023, she was photographed arriving alongside Princess Anne. The royal enclosure operates by invitation only, controlled by the royal household. You don't walk into that area without someone at the palace approving your name. People without palace connections don't sit there unless they know someone who controls the guest list. When William controls the household, the invitation list changes, and the woman who helped hide an affair in her country house may find that the enclosure door no longer opens. Number 11. Ben Elliot's knighthood is the one perk William can't take back. 2023. Ben Elliot was knighted. Sir Ben Elliot, the nephew of the Queen. Knighted during the reign of his uncle by marriage. The timing raised eyebrows across Westminster. The honor came after the cash for access allegations, after the lobbying watchdog's warning, after quintessentially reported financial losses. A knighthood, once given, is permanent. It cannot be revoked simply because the monarch changes. William can't undo it. This is the one perk Camilla's family locked in before the window closed. Every other privilege on this list can be taken away with a phone call. The knighthood stays, and Ben knows it. I really want to get to number 15, the final rule that explains why none of this was personal. But first, 12 and 13. Because those are the ones Diana's ghost walks through. Number 12. Charles protected Camilla's family from public scrutiny. This is the big one, and honestly, this is the one that made me angry. For 20 years, Charles used the machinery of Buckingham Palace, the press office, the communications team, the legal advisors, the media relationships, to shield Camilla's family from the kind of scrutiny that destroyed Diana. Tom's cocaine incident at Cannes in 1999, Charles gave him a severe scolding. The story disappeared within days. Annabelle's no-bid Duchy contracts? Clarence House issued a statement defending her professional expertise, and the story faded from the front pages. Ben's cash for access allegations? Charles stayed silent and let the news cycle move on. Laura's near total invisibility in the press? That's not an accident. That's a wall of palace media management, keeping cameras away from her family. Diana was photographed in a gym by a hidden camera. Diana was recorded on private phone calls. Diana was chased through a tunnel at 90 miles an hour by men who wanted a picture of her face. Camilla's children were given a media shield funded by the same institution that left Diana exposed to everything. And now, the man who controls that shield, the man who decides which stories get managed and which families get protected, is Diana's son. He doesn't owe Camilla's family a single press release, a single denial, a single phone call to an editor. Nothing. And the reason William moved now, instead of waiting, is the one nobody expected. Number 13. William moved because the Duchy accounts are public. The Duchy of Cornwall publishes annual accounts. Every payment, every contract, every related party transaction. It's all public. When Charles ran the Duchy, Annabel's payments were buried deep in the footnotes of a 130-page annual report. Thousands of transactions. Her name appeared once in small print with a figure and a note. Nobody read it. Nobody questioned it for 19 years. William inherited the Duchy in September 2022 and published his first full accounts in 2024. The £0 line for Annabel Elliot was there for anyone with a browser to find. The Telegraph found it. The press ran it. The public reacted. William didn't need a confrontation. He didn't need to fire anyone on camera. He didn't need a press release or a statement or a leak to a friendly journalist. He just published the Duchy numbers and let them do the talking. This wasn't a power move designed to humiliate. It was an audit. And when you audit a family that's been living on inherited access for 20 years, the numbers don't lie. They just say nil. Number 14, the correction isn't over. Annabel is gone from the Duchy. The coronation costumes are in storage. The pages have hung up their breeches. But the guest lists for Sandringham, for Ascot, for Trooping the Color, for the Buckingham Palace balcony, for garden parties, for state dinners, for every royal event that Camilla's family has quietly attended for 20 years. All of those lists are written by the reigning monarch and the royal household. When William is king, those lists are his, and every name on them is a choice. Not an inheritance, not a tradition, not an obligation, a choice. Diana's family was shut out of royal life the moment the divorce papers were signed. Her brother, Earl Spencer, gave a eulogy at Westminster Abbey that accused the institution of stripping Diana of everything: her title, her security, her place in the family. He looked the royals in the eye and said it to their faces. Camilla's family has had 20 years of access, 20 years of invitations, 20 years of Christmas walks and Ascot enclosures and balcony appearances that Diana's family never received. The man who levels that balance is the son Diana raised, and he's already started. Number 15. This wasn't cruelty, it was the rule. Private citizens cannot inherit royal privilege, not through marriage, not through godparents, not through interior design contracts, not through coronation costumes, not through Christmas walks, not through balcony appearances, not through a nephew's luxury concierge business. The perks Camilla's family enjoyed for 20 years were gifts from one king, and gifts from one king do not transfer to the next. William didn't take anything from Camilla's children and grandchildren. He stopped giving them things they were never entitled to. Diana's children earned their place through blood, through birth, through the line of succession that has existed since 1066. Camilla's children earned their place through proximity, through a marriage certificate, through being in the room when the right man put on the crown. And proximity has an expiration date. It expired the day William inherited the Duchy and wrote nil next to Annabel Elliot's name. And it expires permanently, completely and irreversibly, the day he inherits the crown. The rule is clear. Private citizens can't inherit royal privilege. It was never theirs. And now the person who decides whether they get to pretend it was is the son of the woman they replaced. Those were the 15 perks William cut off from Camilla's family. From 19 years of no-bid duchy contracts to coronation roles given to non-royals to a media shield Diana was never offered. The rule is simple. Private citizens cannot inherit royal privilege, and Camilla's family had access only because one king chose to give it to them. The 20 warnings Diana left for William about Camilla are the reason these corrections feel personal, even though they're procedural. If you want to see those 20 warnings, that video is right here.